Today we are going to learn about finding the area of complex shapes. So what do I mean by complex shapes? So complex shapes means it's just a combination of the shapes that we know. So for example, something like this, that is a combination of a rectangle with a triangle. Or if you have something like this, that is a combination of a square with a semicircle, which is half of a circle. Okay, so complex shapes in real life, the shapes that we usually know are combined with other shapes, right? So this is what a house kind of looks like in a two-dimensional representation. Okay, so we are going to try and find the area of these kind of shapes. Okay, and to do that, we'll need to first know how to find the area of all our basic shapes. So let's just write down the formulas for the areas of the shapes that we know. So we have a square. We know how to find the area of a square. We know how to find the area of a rectangle. We know how to find the area of a triangle. And we know how to find the area of a circle. We also know the parallelogram, but we're just going to stick with these four shapes in this section. Okay, so for the square, the area was, what was it? Okay, it was s squared. Remember, it was s, the side times side to get the area. For rectangle, it was L times W. For triangle, it was B times H, but you have to do 1/2, okay, or divide by 2. For circle, it was pi times r squared, where the pi, you can use 3.14 to represent pi. Okay, so these are the formulas for our basic two-dimensional shapes. Okay, so let's try and find the area of that house that we looked at. Okay, so let's say that this side is 5 meters, this side is 10 meters, and this length here is 4 meters. Then what would the area of this shape be? Okay, my advice to you would be to separate the shapes into the shapes that we do know. Okay, so let's separate this into a rectangle and a triangle. Okay, so for the rectangle part, what is the area of this? Okay, let's look back at our formula. It's L times W. So the area of that rectangle is going to be 5 times 10, which is 50. 50 meters squared. By the way, for areas, you need to square your units as well. What is the area of this part? Okay, we know that the height is 4. The height is 4. Remember, for a triangle, we need to do base times height times 1/2. The height is 4. What is the base here, this length? This is the base. Well, this length is the same as this length, right? So this is going to be 10. So we do 4 times 10, that's base times height, and then we have to do times 1/2 to this. Okay, so that is 40 times 1/2, or divide by 2, that's going to be 20 meters squared. So we found the area of these individual shapes. We found the area of the triangle part, we found the area of the rectangle part. So to find the area of the whole thing, we just need to add these two. So we just add 20 plus 50 is going to equal 70 meters squared. Okay, that wasn't too hard, right? Let's try a different shape. Okay, this time we have a square like this, and then we have a semicircle like this, and let's call this length as S. This whole length is S. Or actually, let's call, let's call this length as R. Okay, so that's also the radius of that circle. Okay, so that length is R. And again, let's find the area of the circle part or the semicircle part, and then find the area of the square part separately, and then we can add them together at the end. Okay, so let's start with the circle part. So if you look at the area of a circle, it's pi times r squared, right? Pi times r squared. So we do, let's use a number instead of an r here. So let's say that this is the r is 4. Let's call that 4. So the area of the circle is going to be pi times 4 times 4, which is going to be pi, we'll use 3.14. And then 4 times 4 is 16. And if you multiply the two together, so 3.14 times 16, we get 4, 2, 8, 18, 4, 1, 3. Add them together. 50.24. Okay, 52.24. This is the area of the circle. So if you had a circle like this, that would be the area. To get the area of the semicircle, this is half of the circle, right? So we'll need to divide this. We'll need to divide this by 2. Because this is half of a circle. This is not the whole circle. Okay, so that's going to be 2 and 5 and then 2. Don't forget the decimal point here. 4. Okay, so that's going to be 25.12. This part is 25.12. Oh, I forgot to write the units. Let's use meters. Meters squared. So we're done with the circle part. We found that the circle part is 25.12 meters squared. Okay, now let's try the square part. Okay, so for the square part, we need to do s squared, and s is this length here, this times this. What is this length? Well, we know that this length is 4, right? So the whole length, this whole length, is going to be 8. That is 8. And because it's a square, this is also going to be 8. This is also going to be 8. That is also going to be 8. So this is an 8 by 8 square. So to get the area of that square, we just do 8 times 8, which is going to be 64 meters. Oh, let's use the units. Don't forget the units. Meters squared. Okay, so finally, we just add these two numbers to find the area of this whole shape. So we have 64 plus 25.12. We add 89.12 meters squared. So that would be our answer. Okay, I think this one was a little bit harder than the previous one, but you get the idea. We find the area of the separate shapes, okay, and then at the end we add them all together. Let's try one last shape. One last shape. So we have a square like this, and we have a circle inside the square like this. And we want to find the area, this purple area. how do you find the area of this purple area? And let's give the measurement. Let's say that the radius of this circle is 10 centimeters. Okay, how do you find the area of that purple area? Well, the purple area is really the area of the square minus the area of the circle. So area of the square, the area of the square is, the whole thing is blue. So that's the area of the square, right? The blue part is the area of the square. And from here you subtract the circle portion. If you subtract the circle portion, that is going to give you the area of the purple part, this leftover part. So we'll have to do the area, or the square minus the circle for this one. So what is the area of the square? The area of the square is going to be S times S. What is S? Well, the radius was 10 centimeters, right? And if you see, S is this whole thing. So the half of that was 10. So the whole thing is going to be 20 centimeters. And because it's the square, this is also going to be 20 centimeters. So the area of the square is going to be 20 times 20, which is 400 centimeters squared. And what's the area of the circle? The area of the circle is right here. It's going to be pi times r squared. So that's going to be pi times 10 times 10. That's going to be 3.14 times 100, which is 314. You just move the decimal point 2 times, centimeter squared. So we just do 400 minus 314 to get the purple part. What is 400 minus 314? It's going to be 6, 8. All right, so 86. So the area of the purple part is going to be 86 centimeters squared. Okay, so notice how we're using the formulas that we already know to find the area of combinations of these shapes, or it could be difference between the area of the two shapes. So you'll need to know how to use these formulas to find the area of complex shapes.